highlight of our fundraising at the moment is there are 6 people, 5 men and 1 woman, swimming from Holyhead to Dunlaoghaire, and we hope to raise from this $250,000. So hopefully we will at the end reach our target.
It's a first-time venture, and very shortly we're launching our new Stena Sealinks, which is a first-time venture, first catamaran from the Republic of Ireland. So that was something we thought we should be associated with. I think it's a great opportunity, and a real plus has been the possibility of linking up with this sponsorship with the Respect the Daughters of Charity service for the mental handicap service. When we came here and saw the type of quality of residential care that the sisters are offering and the quality of helpers who are looking after the mentally handicapped here, that was a real plus, and this is something we've thrown ourselves into with great vigour.
If the Sealink challenge to relay swim the Irish Sea was daunting, so too was the amount of money needed to rehouse the special residents at St. Vincent's Centre on Dublin's Navan Road. People who know Sister Martha know what to expect. No one had warned me of her capacity to motivate and drive people. A simple nun she is not, though she lives a life dedicated to Christ and the caring of others. Some would say she is more suited to corporate management than to a life of prayer. She is a persuasive and committed woman. Her only small weakness is her inability to understand the word no. Her need for some hundreds of thousands of pounds for her Respect organisation is not a polite request for a charitable donation. It is a specific requirement for the organisation which cares so much for students and residents with special needs. If anyone had told me or my associate producer, Jason Ford, that to swim the Irish Sea was possible, I would have dismissed it as nonsense. When Sister Martha peered up at me and said it was possible and it would be happening, I was not about to argue. As a result of that meeting, I would know some of the best and worst moments of my life. I would see stubborn courage, acute illness, and fear you could almost touch. This swim across the Irish Sea is regarded as impossible by many of our most prominent mariners, but something carried us as a group towards our goal. 6 swimmers, specialists in long-distance swims, were formed into a super team by Mick Kennedy, a Dubliner, a man with vision. He too had been swept off his feet by Sister Martha. This hand-picked team was formed to break a world record and be the first to conquer the Irish Sea. Though already world-class athletes, a punishing training program was begun. Delays in the departure date were a constant frustration. Meeting after meeting, final briefing followed by even more final briefings. It was approaching late July when the crucial telephone call came to my office. It's tomorrow. We're off in the morning. I had become so used to the cancellations I had difficulty believing the news. Jason and I had to charge a full kit of batteries for a camera, a generator, a night lighting kit for the night swimming. We had a 2-kilowatt generator, microphone kits, and camera equipment. It wasn't until we boarded the new Sealink vessel, Sealinks, that we believed that this was actually happening. We must have looked a funny sight as we pulled away from Dunlaoghaire Pier. Families of the swimmers gave us a hearty wave as we slipped away that afternoon. Looking back on the adventure, it is possible that they knew something that we didn't. The cheery goodbyes may have veiled a deep anxiety about what many describe as more difficult than Everest. Within minutes, the swimmers were experiencing that fame that public personalities must be well used to. This was made complete by a visit to the bridge of the Sealinks. If Captain Peter Lockey had serious doubts about the venture, he was cautious in his choice of words.
Well, the Irish Sea is an area of changeable weather conditions, but I think that with the weather conditions as they are at the moment, that they've got a very good opportunity, and I wish them all the best in their endeavours.
His high-tech ship takes only 1 hour 40 minutes to cross from Wales to Ireland. We would take almost 50 hours to make the same crossing. As we slipped across the Irish Sea, we caught a glimpse of the Stena Lente, the boat that was to be our home for this grueling voyage. Despite our confidence in the captain, Dave Gerard, the boat looked alarmingly small. The 5 male swimmers were met at Holyhead by the single female swimmer, Gráinne Gunn. Though a native of Northern Ireland, Gráinne lives and works in Liverpool.
The rest of the crew down there.
Well, I've swum the English Channel, did a solo of the English Channel in '87. I've also done the first Ireland-Scotland relay. I've done a relay up Lough Neagh. I've swum Windermere. I've swum in many lakes in Britain and Ireland. So quite a lot of experience and quite a lot of relay experience, because relays are very different from solos. You know, you have to get the team together, you have to get, you know, the team spirit going. Everybody's, you know, very important, and it's important for all the team members just to work together and to support each other. And it's difficult to getting in and getting out, because you're getting cold whenever you're on the boat, and it's difficult to organise, you know, your time on the boat. I think women are probably actually better at this than men because of their natural body shape, and also because they tend to be good team workers and they tend to have lots of stamina. And I mean, it's been shown throughout the world that women have got the best track record in long distance swimming. So I think you can't afford to have a he-man attitude in this. You need to be a very selfless person for the rest of the team. So I think I would like to see more women out there swimming in the middle of the night with me.
A brief rest was followed by the loading of the boat, the Stena Lente, just arrived from its 10-hour journey from Dunlaoghaire.
Well, at the moment you're standing in the cockpit, the back of the boat. This is where basically most of the work's going to be done on the boat. There's going to be a couple of watches here. Probably mostly on this side, just 2 of them, because the swimmers are going to be on this side. It's not a huge area, it's usually bigger than this, but as you can see, we've got a generator, we've got ballygar, we've got all the sort of bits and pieces, sea anchor, all this stuff, or some of the stuff is going into the sea as we go along. Do you want to come inside and have a look inside? Look, this is the wheelhouse. Seat here, this is where we're going to be steering from. As you can see, the instruments, the controls, navigation equipment. VHF radio shipped to shore that we can talk to, as you'll be hearing later on, I'm sure we'll be talking to, for example, the port authorities here when we go out, and to Sealinks and so on and so forth, because Sealink, of course, is the sponsor for this swim. There's a seat, which is fairly self-explanatory. Seat here, which makes into a double bunk. We'll keep this as a single just for this trip, and anybody that gets a chance is going to get the 20-minute sleep here, because 20 minutes is all anyone's going to get. We're going to be very, very crowded. In any condition, in anybody's terms, it's going to be very crowded. Perhaps it might seem a little bit more spacious, but I know when there's 12 guys sitting down here, it won't be that big. This makes into a double bunk, which we'll probably put up and use as a double, so that 2 people, can, or even 3, can get in there and have a rest whenever they get a chance. This is a table, this is where I'll be doing the chart work, the navigation, which is obviously a very important part of this trip. Under all of these seats, this is all stowage. Under here is nothing but food, because there's 12 people, they're going to eat a lot of food. Swimmers are going to take up a lot of energy, as you can see. Everywhere you look, there's more and more food. Up in the forward cabin there, called the forecastle, you're going to see, again, it's a cramped space because we're just off, hopefully, in a few minutes. We've just thrown all the bags in there. Hopefully we're going to sort it out on the way. We're starting here in the inner harbour where Sealink have their ferry terminal. We're going to come out here around this fairway, which is just like a road. It's marked with buoys to tell us the way to go. Around and out to this north stack here, which is the starting point for the swim. This point the swimmers will get out, or the swimmer who starts will get out, go ashore, stand there, and from that moment the swim starts. We're going to start almost in darkness. Certainly within 5 or 10 minutes of the swimmer starting, we will be in pitch black. Their chances of success are 50-50. It's really going to be something if they can do it. It's really going to be an amazing feat if they can get across. And that's why it's 1993 and nobody has ever done it.
Dusk had fallen early on that July night as we glided out of Holyhead docks to the official start point, the South Stack Rocks.
As soon as I touch the rock, or the thing, I'll shout back to you.
Mike Kelly, as team leader, was the first to go. In the darkest of night, he had to swim from the boat to the rocks to establish that he left the actual land of Wales as opposed to the sea. Morale was high, and the swimmers felt they could conquer the world. Mick Kennedy, the team coach, was both official observer and timekeeper. A veteran swimmer himself, he knew how important pace is to these distant swimmers.
I'm in charge of support here on the swim. Mike is now in 40 minutes into the first hour of the swim. He's just gotten himself a nice position off the boat. He's just settling into it, and he's very, very comfortable. He's about 1 mile off the coast of England, or the coast of Wales now, and Grania, in fact, is in next.
Throughout Kelly's swim, the team carefully monitored his progress. Only the skipper of the Stena Lente noted a forecast indicating an increase in wind strength. Night swimming is demanding, but no one expected to see the first swimmer and team captain emerge from the water quite so fatigued.
It's very cold now in the last few seconds.
Yeah,
That lighting up there is chaos. You turn the lighting on, you don't know where you're going.
What we on board didn't realise was that from the nighttime waters, the boat is almost invisible to the swimmer. While Mike Kelly recovers from the jellyfish and the cuts and bruises, Grania is completing her swim. As she climbs back on board, it's evident that she's consumed a large amount of seawater. Though she's a veteran of the English Channel swim and has several other major achievements, she too is showing signs of fatigue.
Tea or coffee with your maximum? No, not straight in.
It's essential that swimmers both eat and rest after their swims. But something odd is happening. Whether it's from the rocking motion of the slowly moving boat or from sheer anxiety, the swimmers are unable to eat or sleep. Peter Legg is the next swimmer to complete his cycle. Despite the slow progress of 2 miles per hour, morale is still high. The coast is slipping away into the night as Peter completes his swim. He seems unaware of the fright he gave us as he swam in an opposite direction to the boat. Even with the stick light, he has disappeared from view several times.
This orientation with the boat, it's very difficult to see the boat in the water. It's very hard, and you have to keep watching. The boat seems to keep looming towards you. Now, I naturally breathe to the right, and I would prefer to be on that side of the boat, but being on this side of the boat, I normally breathe to the right, so it's just a little bit more difficult.
Got to keep focusing on the light, just the one thing the whole time, and then just keep that up, and time goes by very slowly.
Get the last guy in, is that tough?
Well, the pressure seems to be on me a lot, but I'm keen to get in and go through the same emotional turmoil as the rest.
By now, the sixth swimmer has completed his swim. It's Mike Kelly's second turn to swim for an hour, no more, no less. In this interview, he omits to mention that the swimmers are all becoming nauseous and they're vomiting even as they swim.
Mike, you're going in for the second time now.
Yep.
How's morale?
That's okay. It's a bit tiring now. What are we, 5 o'clock in the morning or something? So the body clock says that any sane person's asleep. We're out here doing this, so a bit tiring, but I'm looking forward to this session being over. I get in there and try and get some sleep. Haven't been able to sleep really. I've said it before and I've said it again. If any team's going to crack this team will. Right across the board. Great team. Great team. Right from crew, skipper, to the swimmers. Absolutely smashing.
By now, we're 6 or 7 hours out of Holyhead. No one is yet alarmed by the fact that none of the swimmers have eaten to replace the vast amounts of energy being sapped by the waters of the Irish Sea.
Okay, well it's 10 to 5 now in the morning. The dawn, as you can see, is just breaking. Our sixth swimmer is now in and just completing his hour's swim. Each swimmer has done exceptionally well. We've made great progress out from Holyhead. Hopefully the weather now is going to hold. There's a little bit of rain coming in, but that won't affect the swimmers in the slightest. Mike Kelly is going in now for the second time, and it's from then on in, it's in strict order. We can't change the order or anything like that.
Shit, that's cold.
As dawn rises, the swim continues. It's a relentless succession of swimmer after swimmer. Inside the cabin, the good news is that the Stena Lente is dead on course.
We're approximately 1/3 of the way. Could work out exactly if you wanted, but...
The first signs of slightly turbulent waters are becoming evident in the boat. Holyhead Coast Guard wishes us well and reminds us that the Welsh papers are following our progress with interest. This tidbit of good news is welcomed by the gradually tiring swimmers. But Gráinne Gunn, one of the strongest swimmers in the team, is still quite ill.
It was very hard to see where you're going in the dark. I don't know, it's different. We covered the second time around during the day.
Gerry's stroke is still strong. As Mick Kennedy time keeps, he's become unsteady on his feet. It's 7 in the morning and few of the team have slept or eaten. A gradual change is taking place. Though people are still confident in the successful outcome of the venture, the rising seas are now posing difficulties for the swimmers. Though not a word is spoken, there is a tiny doubt creeping on board. The autopilot on the Stena Lente is unable to respond to the computer's commands. Aside from the 12 passengers, this 12-ton boat is towing a massive sea anchor to stabilize the boat at such slow speeds. The news that we're 1/3 of the way into our journey has given us new heart, but the wave motion is still increasing. Weather reports offer us little sign of easing high seas or winds. It's now 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday the 20th of July. We've been in this boat for 14 hours. All the swimmers except Mike Kelly are quite ill. Met Office have been onto us directly by radio telephone to advise us that the winds will ease off, but whether or not this boat and crew and swimmers can wait out the poor weather is a matter of some doubt. Mike Kelly is battling the waters. Waves between 5 and 10 feet are pounding him. He doesn't realise that as he swims, that on the Stena Lente, a gradual disillusion is spreading.
What are we up to now? 5, right? Dave!
Mike!
Keep the boat forward of her, because you're kicking up huge waves onto her.
Mike,
I know it's hard, I know.
I'm on both engines. I'm driving up by hand all the time. It really is difficult. I can't move it, you see.
Yeah, she
I just have to steer all the time.
Just try and relax into that.
I think the time has come to have a think about this.
Gráinne's spirit seems to have given us all a lift. She doesn't know about the presence of 2 rather large basking sharks off the stern of the boat. And even while she completes her grueling hour, it's evident that Gerry is quite ill, and despite his protests, must not be allowed back into the water. Everyone is aware of the gravity of the situation, but they also remember the years spent in preparation. Mick Kennedy, the coach and timekeeper, is now consistently sick. A crucial decision must be made, but no one wants to even suggest abandoning the venture. Mike Kelly finally orders the cancellation of his live stream. Even as we call Peter Legg back on board, calls are coming from family and friends, press, RTE radio. Incredibly, despite atrocious conditions, the swimmers are concerned that the fundraising that prompted the whole venture be somehow continued. The 8-hour journey home has distorted our memory of the relentless waves. The atmosphere aboard is, to say the least, sombre. As can only happen in Ireland, the apparent failure has attracted more media attention than the initial effort. Dublin Port Radio has several calls from journalists uttering their condolences and their surprise that we reached halfway in this seemingly impossible adventure. A live radio interview suggests that the swim has captured the imaginations of the public. It does little to console these miserable heroes. They know that the easing winds and waves never materialized. The Stena Lente is still pounding its way back to Dunlaoghaire through heavy seas. A feeling that the sea has won is everywhere. Suggestions that we try again were greeted with forced, half-hearted smiles.
Physically and mentally, I think we're all very, very tired. But having said that, I still think that we tried something that no one else has ever tried. And whilst we may have failed in achieving the overall objective, I think in taking on the challenge we succeeded. We got halfway across, and for what must have been at least 7 or 8 hours, we were in conditions which can only be described as horrendous. And yet swimmers who had been violently ill for hours on end, and swimmers who were seriously dehydrated were quite willing to go back into the water had they been asked. But you just don't ask those kinds of questions of people who you know will get back into the water, because there's always the risk you might be pulling out a person who's seriously injured, or even a person who might die in the water. And that's the reality of long-distance swimming. That's the reality of what we were up against.
Mike Kelly is alone in his optimism as to a future attempt.
Sea beat us on this occasion. I don't know if there'll be a second occasion, certainly with this particular team. I don't know if they really particularly want to go back out and do it again. Maybe with a better forecast and better conditions, we might have stood a much better chance.
And why did they do it? Why did 6 adults with everything going for them take on this seemingly impossible task? Peter Legge has his own views.
I've never been sick on a boat before, never. And I've done a lot of swims, a lot of long-distance swimming, been on a lot of boats. I've never been sick on a boat, either in the water or on the boat. Haven't been sick before. That was terrible. It was terrible. It's the worst conditions I've known. On this particular swim, I spent most of my time either saying prayers or thinking particularly about the children that were going to benefit. It may sound corny, but that was true. I was thinking about the children that were going to benefit on the swim, and that's what helped me dig in.
Yeah, I went in actually after Mike, and before I went in, I was probably as frightened as I've ever been.
So Dave, you were one of the victims of the great illness of this ship.
I certainly was.
How are you feeling?
I feel a lot better now after getting some food and refreshments inside me and got my head down for a while, got some rest. But if you asked me the same question when I was violently sick,
Whether or not the pollution of the sea was a factor in the swimmers being seasick, we will probably never know.
Again, like everybody else, I'm disappointed we didn't succeed, but I'm extremely delighted to have been part of a team, and such a high quality team, which attempted something which has never been attempted before. And even though we didn't succeed, I think the fact that we've tried to do something that no one else has ever tried to do before in itself is an achievement.
Back in the calmness of Dunlaoghaire Harbour, the turbulence of what lay out in the Irish Sea disappears like the morning mist. Curious onlookers and close family friends were all that greeted the passengers of the Stena Lente. "Are you part of the Sealink Challenge team?" asked the boatman. But no one replied as we packed the unused food parcels ashore. Sodden clothes, diesel-smelling bedding, and sealed packages of videotape that make up this programme were loaded on the slipway. And then something happened to change the emphasis of the whole story. Sister Martha's special students appeared on the pier to thank us for our efforts. They had come all the way from Dublin's Navan Road. In its own way, their journey had been as long and as arduous as the swimmers they came to meet, because they didn't understand failure either.
No, I will have no regrets over things that went wrong, for at last I have learned to be strong.
On Monday, the 16th of August, 1993, a third attempt to relay swim the Irish Sea succeeded. New to the team were Leslie Nolan and Shay Dillon, who, with Dave Kilmartin, Feilim O'Maolain, Gerry Carroll and Mick Kennedy, swam their way into history. Arriving at 4 in the morning, the relay swim from Wales, arriving at Dalkey, County Dublin, was completed in under 30 hours.
And they said it couldn't be done, huh?